The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
I'm CJ.
And I'm Carlos.
And we're already going to kick this off with an irate phone call that came in prior to the show. I received a phone call from a student at BMC Durfee High School. Her child was escorted off the premises for insubordination with no notification to the parent. The child is under 18 years old. The school also refuses to allow students to get their lunches or their breakfast if they're not wearing their IDs. Now, according to a quick research, there is no rule saying that the students must wear their IDs. It says that they must present their IDs. So somewhere we need to fix that rule, but to throw a student forcibly off the school campus without notification to the parents, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, places the child in jeopardy. And you may say they're 17 years old or 16 years old, whatever, and they can handle themselves, but no, the school is responsible for them. And just because a child is insubordinate, hey, teenagers are insubordinate every day, but we're going to start kicking students out of school for insubordination? I got a small problem with that.
Well, I mean, obviously, you just received a call, so you got one half of the story.
Yeah.
We have to check the other half of the story, obviously.
Definitely.
But if these things occurred, we know it wouldn't be the first time somebody's like even left the school and they didn't even realize they were gone. But the school does have a liability. If so, I'm not condoning insubordination as far as I'm concerned. There's far too little discipline in our public school system today. But the fact is that if you're going to remove a student from the school and basically put them out on the street, there is a liability that you inform the parents. I believe that if something happens, there will be tremendous repercussions. So if that is in fact true, obviously we need to address this. And as far as lunches are concerned and breakfast, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to fathom that. I don't know what school, but there are some schools like Durfee, there's a lot of students. You can't be expected to know every student. But the fact is that they've got to have some kind of ID, because I don't know how they get into the school if they don't have, I thought security was there to ensure that we don't, if they're allowed to walk in and out of the school if they look 17 or 18 without being at least have some kind of form to show that they go to that school, we could have a catastrophe there of other things, because we can't have people walking in and out today. In today's society, these buildings have to be fairly secure. Entry to schools, especially schools, there should be some kind of system where you have to identify yourself. And I know many schools do. I mean, I remember when, if you visit the school, you have to buzz in, they ask you who you are, you have to prove if you're a parent, et cetera, and you have to state your business before you're allowed in the school. So, I mean, these are all issues I think that we have to really address, but that brings me to a segue. We can segue into what I think we have to discuss today, and we kind of never have an agenda. We kind of just go with the flow, but reports are that our current mayor has said that he has some business to attend to before he leaves office. And one of those things is the contract for the superintendent of schools. And I think that is going to become, if that does in fact happen, a lame duck mayor and a lame duck school committee approves a contract for a superintendent that is under fire, I think that will be I think it will make this beginning of a new regime very, very interesting, because I just don't, and I know that Mayor-elect Correa has said he wants that contract to be delayed until after he becomes the mayor. And obviously, I'm sure that school committeeman-elect Costa and Coogan want to be able to weigh in on this. They were elected to represent the people. We had two people who were staunch supporters of Meg Mayo-Brown removed. And as one of the local, and actually Channel 10, our co-hosts on the debate, I saw on Channel 10 when they said, look, the people of Fall River have spoken very clearly. They replaced the mayor and 3 city councilors, and they want a change in government. And we've changed 3 mayors in less than a 12-month period. At least elected 3 different ones. Got rid of one, elected Sam, then got rid of Sam and elected another one. So look, you incumbent school committeemen, I think somebody said on Facebook there's already a recall page, which is absurd, but that's another issue I'll get to later. But there's a recall page, but I really believe that, there will be some serious consequences if they do this, and I hope this is not an indication or a harbinger, to use a sesquipedalian word, a harbinger of things to come. I hope that our current mayor doesn't decide to renew all his friends' contracts before he leaves. So again, the city is saddled with that, because I think there should be litigation about actions like this, and I think that this is something that we have to talk about, because if in fact this goes forward, the 2 people who were knocked out of the school committee, I will say, forget about your political career ever again if you're going to think about running, because if you do something like this, you're in big trouble. But I think it's really, really, this is politics as usual. Take care of your friends. We saw it when Correa left office, and we saw it when we see it when. Let's change. We voted for change. Let's hold their feet to the fire so we can have some change. Let's let the new people get their baptism of fire. Let's put them let's let them make some decisions right out of the get-go. They ran for those seats. I congratulate them all for winning those seats. However, I'll tell you what, let them do their job. It's clear, it's abundantly clear that the people in the city of Fall River were not happy with the direction of this government and the government itself, because we've begun to change it. So let's let these new people do what they were elected to do, and let's see where we're going to go from here. Let's not be saddled with the old guard, and you can't shake them again.
But here's the thing, Chip, okay? The current mayor and the mayor-elect both know the public does not want Meg Mayo-Brown. Now, does that mean that the mayor can say, oh no, we need to put Meg Mayo-Brown in there? Where does that authority come from, Mr. Mayor? Because you're the mayor? Wrong. Your authority comes from Article 5. And if the people say no, it's no. And that's the problem we have with government in Fall River and in the Commonwealth. They don't realize your opinion doesn't matter. And let's take this one step further. We broke the story about the Karen letter. Okay? And in that letter, it specifically said, we have to get her contract in place before the new regime takes over. Because there's a potential for new school committee members. So we need to elect those 4. His daughter, Mark Costa, Bob Maynard, and Paul Hart, to be sure that Meg Mayo-Brown gets her contract before we change. So guess what? If this contract is indeed approved, if it gets approved by this administration and goes forward, we know that it is a political situation. And as you said, anyone who votes for that, better kiss their political careers goodbye, because that will be the albatross that will hang around their neck for the rest of their political careers. And it's sad, but it's true. And there's other things that have to be completed. And one of the things that came across was yesterday's safety meeting, another segue now, where everyone present at that meeting was asked to stand up if they supported tearing down the building. Richard Cabeceiras left the room. Okay, City Councilor-elect Richard Cabeceiras left the room because he wants to maintain the building to give it away to somebody. I wonder what political contributor that might have been. Okay, to develop it. Guess what? The public has spoken, Mr. Cabeceiras. They don't want it. Your opinion does not matter. Your opinion does not matter. Do not run on the campaign plan of Linda Pereira, where I know what's right and I'm going to do what I want. That doesn't work. The people of the South End has made it very clear. Get rid of the building. That's it. Get rid of it. Okay? And for the Historic Society or Historic Planning Commission or whatever it is, to try to say, oh, well, we're doing a study and sometime in the end of November we'll know whether or not the chimney is salvageable. Who cares? You paid for it. You took CPA money from Carlos's group, so you could do that. I'm very happy for you. Okay? To study a chimney, to see if we can save a chimney. You know what? Demolish it. I got together with a couple of friends. We said, we can do it for 30 grand. Boom, it's gone. That's it. Why do you have to milk this? Why? And Mr. Cabeceiras, you're not even sworn into office already, and you're telling people, you told me, you told many people at that meeting last night, you have your own agenda. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Cabeceiras, that sucks, and you don't represent the people of Fall River if that's how you're going to govern.
Wow. Okay. I don't think you were passionate enough about that.
No, I don't think so.
That particular aspect. But let me say, you quoted my favorite section of the Massachusetts Constitution, and I can tell you that, I think that if this happens, I will attempt to file a complaint with the Attorney General and stuff based on the fact that our elected officials violated that section in doing what they did. It's pretty apparent that the people who ran for office, that Meg Mayo-Brown's contract was an issue that these people who ran for office, the two new electees, were very, very wanted to be in that dialogue. And I think that what is the ultimate expression of the people's desire? The ballot box. Well, if the people who are still sitting in those seats in the school committee had better remember that they are violating the Constitution of this state if they do something, it's pretty apparent that the people did not want them involved any longer. They were voted out of office. So now if they use their last days in office, their lame duck days, to do something that is in direct violation of what the people have said, because that does say they are at all times agents of the people and at all times accountable to the people.
Stop swearing, Chip.
And the people have spoken. They have removed you. And as a matter of fact, I would like to see legislation saying that after an election like that no contracts, nothing. And I know there's a rule that says within 30 days, but that gives them too much latitude. The elections are in November. There's always a rush to slide in under a wire when in the political process. I remember many years ago, the Massachusetts absolute veterans preference went to the United States, not the state, the United States Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court upheld it. And for some reason, and to this day I don't know why, they gave them a 30-day window before the absolute preference was reinstated. And throughout the state of Massachusetts, there was this tremendous rush in every city and town to get all the politically connected non-vets on the fire and police departments. And we had that happen in Fall River. And it happened all over the state. If you give these politicians any kind of window, they will use it. And I think it's wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. When you have a body like the school committee, and they are basically removed, they cannot begin to put contracts under and burden the oncoming school committee and the oncoming mayor with this. This is something, and it's their excuse. How many mayors have we said, we heard Sutter say, oh, what can I do? I can't break all these contracts. Oh, this is one of the problems with the city. Well, damn it, do something about it. We got a state delegation, change the laws. There should be nothing. There should never, ever be a political job that doesn't run coterminous with the person who appoints them. There should never be a job that a body that is basically a lame duck body can basically supersede the will of the people. It's wrong.
I'm going to keep my eyes on this until the end of the year, just to watch those that got re-elected, because those that then got elected, at this point, they don't have nothing to lose, and they know that people forget. And if they want to run again, people will forget about it. But I want to keep the eye is on those that's still there, because I want to see how their vote's going to go. If they're really going to be on the people's side and vote against it, at least until January. Another thing that I think that we need to do, we voters, we need to do the same thing that we did with city councils. Be sitting in there, looking on their faces, and see how they vote on our faces. So that's, I think, what we need to do. We need to go to this, especially this next meeting, with this contract's going to be talked about, and sit in there and give them a message. We voted you in to represent us, and we are sitting here and we are watching you.
Yeah, but you know, Carlos, the problem with that is, at the school committee especially, the school committee voted in a very restrictive citizens' input time. Very restrictive. And that says that if it's not on the agenda, you can't discuss it. And for you to be able to discuss anything not on the agenda, you have to file in writing with the superintendent of schools for permission to address the school committee, which, by the way, very few of them are granted. So they've made it so you can't say anything. They've made it so that your voice doesn't matter. And every single member on that school committee says, I don't care what you have to say, because guess what? I don't let you talk.
I understand that, but the part that we still can do is be there. Just because of the fact that we're not allowed to speak, we never show up at the meetings. It's just the board, and because we're not on their eye look, they think that we're okay with everything they decided. So let's be there and watch them forward.
No, you're right, but but the thing is, what we have to realize now is that they did this to avoid being put under the gun at a meeting.
Right.
They did this to avoid the political heat that can be brought by the citizens, the people they represent. So we voted to change government. And Carlos, we're never going to let those people, even if they weren't elected, forget. Because if they run for office and I'm still alive, I will be somewhere screaming about what they did if they try to run Mayo-Brown's contract through. But we've got a new mayor. We've got 2 new school committeemen. I say, let's do what should be done, and that is talk to our new mayor, talk to our school committee meeting and say, hey, guys, just remember, you guys represent the people. Let's put citizens' input at the school committee back to the way it used to be. Let people get up there and have their time to speak, because and you made that statement earlier in the show. This attitude of politicians that once they get elected, okay, you elected me, now I get to do what I think is right. No, you don't. You get to do what we think is right. You have to weigh what you feel is in the best interest of the city of Fall River. And if nobody contacts you, well, then you can kind of like vote whatever the way you want. But if it's a controversial issue, most of the time you're going to get calls. You're going to know people's, you're going to know people's positions, and that's what really, really frustrates me. when you see 95 people out of 100 walk up in front of the city council and oppose the trash collection fee, and then the city council votes it in. That's why we lost 3 and almost lost a few more. And guess what? We're moving in the right direction. Every election, we're getting more and more people engaged, more and more people involved. And you're right, Carlos. We've got to be down there. We've got to be looking at them. We've got to make them know that we're watching. We got rid of 3 this time. There might be 5 next time. There might be 8 next time. There might be 9. Because this lack of, well, it's not even a lack of sensitivity to the public's will. It's just ignoring the will of the public and doing whatever you feel is right politically. That's got to stop. And we've got to send the messages we have in the seat of the mayor, because it's not just the mayor that's responsible. The school committee is the one who is going to try to put Mayo-Brown in. The city council votes for stuff that they know the people in general didn't want. The election reflected that. You get it now, people? The ones who got their seats saved, remember, you could be next. And let's begin right out of the get-go, hopefully with our new mayor and our newly elected school committeemen saying, citizens' input is just that. We don't get to, you know, it just amazes me that people that were involved with the school committee didn't even go. I would have filed a complaint if I had a child in the school system, because guess what? What is this, Nazi Germany? What is this, Russia? You can only talk about what I want you to talk about. Mm-hmm. You're a taxpayer. You're a parent of a student in a school system, or you're involved in a school system, but the only thing you can talk about is what we let you talk about. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely ridiculous.
And during the campaign, the best that could happen was those they hearing from the students how they are treated in school. And if if those parents could go in front of the school committee, they would be hearing that from the parents. But because the parents are not allowed to speak out, they form that, form with the students. And now every year, listen, oh, the kids spoke out, oh, the kids spoke out. Yes, but the parents have more to speak out than the kids, if you give them time to.
You're 100% right, Carlson. That's the key. The key is, look what we've done here. We've done this forum. We're getting people involved in the political process at a very young age. And all we have to do is look at our mayor-elect. He began his activity as a young, very young boy, 13 years old. He was involved in the drug stuff. He's been involved, and this makes people engaged in the process, and this is good. And while we're there, part of the process is, I know there's a recall site up already, but let me,
Yes,
I have to say something about that. Listen, I said it as the designated spokesman of the recall. We made it very clear that a recall is something you take only under extreme measures. We had a mayor that had been in for 2.5 terms. And he had done a whole myriad of things. It wasn't just the purple bags. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. But he said he was going to repeal the CSO, Coogan Gate, the windows. We can go on and on about the things people are upset with. But the reason we had a recall was it appeared as though public sentiment had completely shifted. We had a mayor who was elected by a 70-30 landslide margin. And then within a year, and because of the purple bags, which was the catalyst, but then everything just exploded. And the people of the city said, you know something, we made a mistake in re-electing him, and we don't even want to give him another year. It's an extreme measure. That's the reason that we were the first city ever to get a recall through and be successful. So we not only got state recognition, we got national recognition for that recall. So don't demean the recall process by saying that every time we don't agree with one decision a politician makes, we're going to recall them. that recall was because of something that realistically was a, almost 5 years of problems. And the citizens had said, we can't let this guy finish his term in the direction he's going. And it's an extreme measure, and let's look at it as an extreme measure. We can't, don't think of this as just some kind of idle threat. This was something that we should be proud of. This is something but it's only done. That's why I don't agree with 4-year terms, because I think that the more they run, the more accountable they are, and they can do a lot of damage in 4 years. But the fact is, nobody should be recalled unless it's an extreme measure. And we have 2 years. They've only got 2 years, so within a year they're going to be answerable and beginning their campaign again. And so let's keep that in perspective. And I know that some wing nuts want to recall everybody.
Yeah, they're having a meeting. They're having a meeting today to form their committee. And you know what? I'm all for the formation of committees to affect change. But the law clearly states you have to have 90 days in office before you can recall anyone. That's the first thing. And you don't recall him because he's got brown hair or drives around in a BMW or, he wears penny loafers and he doesn't wear any socks. Okay? Those are not recall issues. But the thing is I think what's happened here, and I'm not diminishing any of the support and it was almost a year, 40 days will be the anniversary of the recall election. Everyone became a recaller after all the work was done. I voted for the recall, so I'm a recaller. I signed the petition, so I'm a recaller. I held a sign, so I'm a recaller. Wrong. You supported the recall. The recallers were the 13 original signers. They put their necks on the line. The 22 people who went out and collected the signatures. The 3 people who were in the back room drafting the legal drafts, doing the research, putting together the data. Those are the recallers. Those are the people who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to that whole campaign. And that was a campaign. The rest of the people were supporters. And for you to go out there, whoever this group is, and turn around before an individual has even been sworn into office and say, we're going to recall them, you're already setting off the negative possibilities and making those the probabilities. And you can't do that.
Look, you have to have a reason to recall somebody.
That's right.
We had a whole, as a matter of fact, one of the people that was involved in it even had Flanagan's Shenanigans. There's an entire book. There were so many issues. How can you recall somebody who hasn't done anything yet?
Exactly.
I mean, the mayor-elect is not the mayor yet. He hasn't even done anything right. Anything right or
one
right?
thing to
they don't
recall
because they don't like him.
Is the 8,000 votes that he got. That's the only thing that so far he gets. He got out of this campaign.
And I had a brief meeting with his campaign staffers out in front of Government Center as he was coming out, and we spoke about that. And I said, just remember something. He won by 647 votes or something like that. I said, that means there's 7,000 people out there that's going to look for every single statement, every single action, every word, and they're going to look for a mistake, and they're going to jump on it. So.
Somebody, and I talked to one of the mayor-elect supporters, and he said, how do we heal the city? He said, it's really easy. Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Because if we move this city in the right direction, it will heal itself, because that's the way it is. But stay angry, stay observant, watch what everybody does, especially between now and when they swear in our new representatives, because this could get really interesting.
Thank you.